Connell was already angry before he entered the bedroom. The kind of anger that sat heavy in his chest, the type that came from repeating the same complaint over and over until your voice got tired of hearing itself. He stood by the door, holding a pant between two fingers. "Amara," he called, exhausted more than furious. "How many times have I told you this thing?" Amara sat on the bed, brushing her hair slowly, unbothered. The soft yellow light made her skin glow, calm and confident, like she wasn't the reason a grown man was slowly losing his sanity. "Which one again?" she asked sweetly. "This," Connell snapped, lifting the pant. "Why is it behind the chair? Why is there another one in the bathroom? Why is my house looking like a lost and found for underwear?" She turned, smiled lazily, and said the words that always weakened him. "Come and sit first." Connell scoffed.
"No.
"Today, we are settling this matter." But Amara stood up.
Slowly.
She walked toward him with that familiar calm, that softness that made his anger stumble. She took the pant from his hand, dropped it carelessly on the chair, and wrapped her arms around his waist. "Why are you shouting?" she whispered. "Didn't you miss me today?" Connell's mouth opened, then closed. He tried to remember why he was angry. Tried to remind himself that this was a serious conversation about responsibility and cleanliness and sanity. But Amara leaned closer. She smelled like warmth, like home, like everything he worked hard for. "Connell," she murmured, her voice low and teasing, "you complain too much." His breath hitched. Moments later, the anger was gone. Not argued away. Not apologized away. Simply forgotten. Much later, they lay together in quiet satisfaction. The world slowed. The tension melted into something warm and intimate. Connell stared at the ceiling, shaking his head softly. "You know," he said, half laughing, "this is cheating." Amara smiled against his chest. "Cheating how?" "You always win," he said. "Every time I'm angry, you turn me into something else." She traced lazy circles on his chest. "That's what marriage is. Knowing your partner." Connell chuckled, kissed her forehead, and finally stood up to get water. That was when his foot touched something soft. He looked down.
"Pant."
He bent and picked it up. Then he noticed another on the chair, another by the door, another near the bed. Connell stood there quietly, staring at the evidence scattered around the room like witnesses. He laughed. A tired laugh. A defeated laugh. "Amara," he called gently, "did we fight today?"
She yawned.
"Yes." "And how did it end?" "With love," she replied sleepily. Connell looked at the pants again. That was the problem. The love was too good. And every time love won, the pants lost. Connell tried a new strategy. Shopping. If the pants were the problem, then surely more pants would fix it. That Saturday, he took Amara to the mall. Not because she asked, because he needed peace. "Choose anything you want," he said, handing her his card. "Anything." Amara's eyes lit up.
Lace. Cotton.
Soft silk. Expensive ones Connell didn't even know had names. She laughed happily, holding them up.
"See?
These ones are too fine to misplace." Connell believed her. That was his first mistake. By the third day, the new pants had started disappearing. One behind the TV stand. One inside a laundry basket that hadn't been touched in days. One mysteriously tucked into the arm of the sofa, like it had crawled there on its own. Connell stood in the living room one evening, counting pants like a man reviewing casualties. "Amara," he asked carefully, "where are the new ones?" She looked up from her phone. "Which new ones?"
His eye twitched.
That night, he complained again. Longer, louder, more serious. "This is not about money," he said, pacing. "It's about order. It's about peace of mind." Amara listened quietly. Too quietly. Then she stood up. She always stood up when she wanted the conversation to end. She walked toward him, placed her hands on his shoulders, and smiled. "You talk too much," she said softly. "You forget you're married." Connell swallowed. "You're distracting me again," he muttered. "That's my job," she replied. Later, Connell lay awake, staring at the wall, wondering how a man could lose the same argument every single time. He turned to her. "You know this thing you do?" he said. "One day it won't work." Amara smiled in the dark. "You always say that."
He sighed.
Because deep down he knew the truth. The pants annoyed him, but losing Amara's touch?
That terrified him.
The next morning, Connell found a pant hanging on the kitchen door handle. He stared at it for a long time. Then he laughed. This marriage wasn't normal, but it was his. And somehow he was still happy. Connell loved football nights.
Cold drinks.
Loud arguments. Men shouting at the TV like the players could hear them. It was his safe space. So when he invited his friends over that Saturday, he truly believed, that nothing could go wrong. Amara was in a good mood. The house was clean. The pants situation, for once, seemed under control. Or so he thought. The match had barely started when Connell went to the kitchen to grab more drinks. As he returned, laughter suddenly died down in the living room. Too quiet. "Guy," one of his friends said slowly, pointing. "What's that near your couch?" Connell followed the finger. His heart dropped. There it was. A pant. Casual.
Confident.
Sitting proudly near the couch like it paid rent. Time slowed. Connell's brain screamed.
Think. Think.
Without blinking, he exploded. This made N. Is she mad? Everyone jumped. Which kind of nonsense is this? Connell shouted, picking up the pant dramatically. "Musa, why is your pant in my living room?" The room went silent. Then laughter burst out like fireworks. "You're made," someone shouted between laughs. "Connell, you employ men now?" Musa appeared, confused and terrified. "Sir, my pant." Connell leaned close, whispering like a desperate man negotiating with fate. "Just take it and go. I'll explain later." Musa didn't ask questions. She grabbed it and vanished. Connell sat back down, sweat running down his back. Amara passed by the hallway, caught his eye, and smiled. That smile said everything. For the rest of the match, Connell couldn't focus. Every time someone shifted, he feared another discovery. When his friends finally left, one slapped him on the back. "Guy, control your staff," he laughed. Connell forced a smile. The moment the door closed, he turned to Amara. "Do you know what you almost did today?" She blinked innocently.
What?
"You nearly destroyed my reputation." She laughed. "Relax. You handled it well." "Well," Connell repeated. "I blamed my maid." Amara walked closer, wrapped her arms around him, and whispered, "But did anyone know it was mine?"
Connell sighed. No.
No one knew. That was the problem. That night, Connell lay awake, staring at the ceiling. This habit was no longer private. It was becoming dangerous. Funny but dangerous. And if something didn't change soon, he knew the pants would expose him one day. Connell feared many things in life. Failure. Public disgrace. Another football night incident. But nothing scared him like his mother visiting unannounced. Mama Connell arrived on a Tuesday morning with a big box, loud prayers, and sharp eyes that missed nothing. "Have you eaten?" she asked before even sitting down. "This house is too quiet. Is your wife sick?" Amara welcomed her warmly, smiling, respectful, perfect. Connell relaxed a little. Maybe, just maybe, this visit would go smoothly. That illusion ended in the kitchen. Connell was in the bedroom when he heard it. "Connell!" The scream carried weight. The kind that meant trouble had already happened. He rushed into the kitchen. His mother stood frozen, holding a pant. Not just holding it above a bag of rice. Her eyes, slowly, lifted to meet his. "Is this what people cook with in your house?" she asked calmly. Connell's soul left his body. He turned slowly to Amara, ready to finally unleash everything he had been holding back for months. But Amara beat him to it. She crossed her arms and looked straight at him. "Why are you looking at me like that?" she asked coolly. "Do you remember yesterday?" Connell blinked. "Yesterday what?" She tilted her head. "In this same kitchen. When we were alone." His mother's eyes narrowed. Amara continued unbothered. "You were the one that removed it," she said softly. "You flung it aside." Even told you you'd forget. Silence. Dead silence. Cunnel opened his mouth.
Closed it.
His mother looked from him to Amara, back to him. So, Mama, Cunnel said slowly, you are the one scattering pants in my son's house?
Cunnel swallowed.
Yes, Ma. That night, his mother pulled him aside. Marriage is not easy, she said. But control yourself. Your wife is young.
Cunnel nodded weakly.
As his mother slept, Cunnel lay beside Amara, staring into the dark. This thing you do, he whispered, one day it will kill me. Amara smiled and rested her head on his chest. But you're still breathing, she said. Cunnel laughed quietly.
She was right.
But for how long? Cunnel didn't shout when he finally made the decision. That was the scariest part. I think you should go stay with your sister for a while, he said quietly one night. Just let's have space. Amara stared at him. Not angry, not crying, just surprised. Because of pants? She asked. Cunnel rubbed his face. Because I'm tired of pretending this thing doesn't bother me. She nodded slowly. And just like that, she packed. No drama. No seduction. No late-night apologies. That scared Cunnel even more. The house became quiet. Too quiet. Cunnel noticed things he never noticed before. The silence after work. The cold bed. The absence of laughter. And yet the house was finally tidy. No pants in corners. No surprises. No chaos.
Peace.
Or so it seemed. Cunnel started monitoring her, without meaning to. He would pass her street by accident.
Check who she was talking to.
Watch from a distance. The first time he saw a man walk her to her gate, something snapped. Cunnel parked his car and stormed out. Guy, move away from my wife. The man raised his hands. Olga, calm down, I was just leave. The man didn't wait. Amara turned to Cunnel, furious. You asked me to leave, she snapped. Why won't you let me be? Cunnel opened his mouth. No answer came. At night, he dreamed. He dreamed another man was holding her, laughing with her, touching her the way he knew how. He woke up shouting, sweating, shaking. By morning, his decision was made. Cunnel stood at her door before she woke. Pack your things, he said. Amara frowned. Why? I can live with bad habits, he said hoarsely. But I can't live with another man touching you. She searched his face. Then she smiled softly. You're mad, she said. Maybe, Cunnel replied. But you're my madness. She packed and went home with him. The pants returned. So did the chaos. But Cunnel slept better. Cunnel thought he had seen everything. He was wrong. The day Amara's mother came to visit, the universe decided to explain itself. She arrived loud, cheerful, and overly comfortable, like someone who had never been told, this is not your house. Within 1 hour, Cunnel noticed it. A pant on the arm of a chair. Another hanging casually on a door handle. Then one tucked behind a cushion. Cunnel froze. He slowly turned and looked at Amara. Amara looked back at him. They both turned toward her mother. Amara's mother was in the kitchen, humming happily, completely unbothered by the chaos she was creating. That was when it hit him. This wasn't carelessness. This wasn't stubbornness. This was learned behavior. Later that night, Cunnel sat Amara down gently. For the first time, he said calmly, I'm not angry. Amara frowned. Then why are you looking at me like that? Because I finally understand, he said. You didn't invent this habit. You grew up inside it. Amara went quiet. No jokes. No flirting. No excuses. I didn't even realize, she whispered. Cunnel reached for her hand. This doesn't mean you're bad, he said. It just means we need help. She nodded slowly. Therapy wasn't easy. Amara resisted at first. Laughed it off. Got defensive. But little by little things changed. She learned routines. Triggers. Why comfort sometimes turned into carelessness. Cunnel learned patience. Support. How to complain without exploding. The pants didn't disappear overnight. But they stopped appearing in the kitchen. Stopped embarrassing guests. Stopped starting wars. One evening, Cunnel found a pant neatly folded on the bed. He picked it up, smiled, and walked to Amara.
Look at you, he teased.
Responsible woman. She rolled her eyes. Don't get used to it. They laughed. Later that night, Cunnel held her close and whispered, even if this never fully stopped, I would still choose you. Amara smiled against his chest. And I'd still drive you mad, she replied. Marriage, Cunnel learned, wasn't about fixing everything. It was about understanding where things came from and deciding they were still worth loving. And, this time, they truly were.